Good morning, Rusk enjoyers. I hope you're alright, because it's time to have a little discussion about this Stinger crossbow right here in front of us. Now, at first glance, you might notice, hang on a minute, there's transparency on the sides. It's pay to win. Yes, you could sit there and say that. But we have to discuss in this video, is it actually going to work out as a perfectly fine investment? I'm worried potentially about the sales, but also potentially about seeing newer skins like this being accepted in Rust stores, and who knows, maybe a Twitch drop. So sit back, relax, let's get started. Now in this video we'll also point out I do intend to do a nice little showcase of this skin. We've already kind of showcased it in my Rust rotation video, but it couldn't hurt to give another good look and whatnot, do some comparisons, you get the idea. So the second I saw the skin, in my predictions video, you may recall, it's the first skin I talked about because I had to. $2 for a transparent crossbow? I mean, just saying. But this video right here is actually a follow-up to the 48-hour analysis. So I've already got like a good idea in regards to how much this is likely to sell by next Thursday. Now, unfortunately, SCMM is down, but we can still use micro522.com to stay up to date for the sub counts. And you could just look at the workshop page, scroll down. Oh, there you go, workshop subscriber counts. So anyway, right now, about 3 days in, 14,600 subscribers. My estimate is it's going to do between 19 to 22,000 subscribers. However, I would not be surprised in the slightest if there's a lot of people who want to wait until the very last second to then make a move, then make some purchases. Wouldn't be too surprising. We saw that quite recently with the Heatseeker Revolver, didn't we? A lot of people wait till the last second, then a whole bunch of purchases happened. And the funny thing is, out of all the skins that we have here, boots, and if I can recall, it's also the small box here, they are selling more compared to this crossbow at the moment. That's the third best selling skin. But it wouldn't surprise me if we get like a second wind at the very last second in the last few hours and suddenly this becomes the top selling skin. Either way, I'm expecting at least around 20,000 subscribers plus. And remember, subscriber count is just the bare minimum sales. That is the bare minimum amount of people who are buying the skin. So just to repeat, 14,607 means 14,607 individual people have bought the skin, but we don't know how many they bought each. Some of them probably only just bought one. In fact, the vast majority very likely have done that, and I don't blame them. It's a very useful skin to have. But to all the people out there looking at this as an investment, and to you here as well, this is why we're making a video, chances are there's already a whole bunch of people who bought like 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 100 or even 1,000, right? Because if this over here is the only competition we have, right, it's not surprising. This was selling for $8. This was one of the most expensive crossbows we had in the game, but it's lost value because the Stinger crossbow has appeared, hasn't it? So, yep, just a week ago, this was comfortably sitting here at $8. This came out 3 years ago, back in 2022, the Cargo Heli crossbow. Now, as you can imagine, yes, that also has transparency. Now, when you compare the two of them, this has like a little bit more transparency in the further sides. Stinger crossbow has more transparency inwards. When we do the showcase in a bit, you'll see that for yourself. But that was $8. However, over to here, this is $2, a quarter of the price. It's not surprising to see a lot of people jumped onto this because it's a whole lot more approachable, a whole lot more affordable. But with the position that this is in at the moment, it could happen to the Stinger crossbow. Yeah, maybe we have a good solid few months where the Stinger crossbow potentially rises up in price. I don't imagine it would be to a very high, like very high point, but something else could still come out that could cause issues for the Stinger crossbow. Now, just to repeat, this came out 3 years ago. This did 13,785 subscribers. We've already surpassed that. But it's not too surprising considering that came out in 2022. You look at the player counts at the moment, you see like we're doing very good at the moment. But go back 3 years, quite a difference, yes. Almost, what, an extra 30, 40% compared to then. So, yeah, all right then, we're seeing more sales, but it's not too surprising. It's totally understandable. All right, cool. So, if you did just under 14,000 subscribers, and we're estimating the new Stinger crossbow's likely going to do potentially a fair bit more, what's the concerns then, Hedge? What's the issue? Because 22,000 subscribers doesn't sound too much. True. But, as I said, there's the possibility of seeing something else come out afterwards that could potentially lead to some issues. So, let me just kind of do a nice comparison about another certain item. So, Heatseeker collection, that came out somewhat recently. We saw a whole bunch of very cool transparent aim sight and certain skins, certain items and whatnot. And I want to talk about this SAR here. So, Heatseeker SAR, the second skin to be accepted in that collection. And when this came out, that got quite a lot of commotion, didn't it? Oh, yes. So, it took a while, but after about 3 days in, there was a TikTok video that was made, and suddenly a whole lot more people became fully well aware of that, didn't they? And that ended up doing just under 40,000 subscribers. I don't expect that behaviour for our Stinger Crossbow, but I have put out a TikTok video, I have put out a short video. Only about 10,000-ish people have seen, like, footage of it. Someone made a video talking about that, talking about its pay-to-win transparent aim sight. That got over 200,000 views. You know, there's a big difference there, isn't there? But anyway, the main talking point is, when that came out, there was only one other SAR skin that could compare, and it was the $50 Imp SAR. Well, much like the cargo heli crossbow, the second this saw competition, it kind of lost its value. I'm not joking. This was selling for $50, and yeah, had a very nice high point. Literally just a couple months ago, that was on top of the world. Nice, expensive, no comparisons. Oh look, Heatseeker SAR appears. It has lost half of its value. Oh my. And look, listen, whenever I see something very interesting in the workshop, or, you know, being accepted, I'm always putting out short videos. I'm always doing comparisons. So I did kind of warn everybody, hey guys, have you seen this brand new SAR here? Yeah, it's a lot more affordable. It's a lot more cheaper. Only $3 for that compared to the $50 Imp SAR. That SAR just completely outdid it. More transparency, much more noticeable, colourful design, very cool art on the side and whatnot. The tiger. It's not surprising, is it? So yeah, Imp SAR has suffered. So, it's not just that though. The main talking point about the Heatseeker SAR was it was on top of the world. On the Steam market, it was comfortably selling between $8 to $10. But we had to keep our ear out, didn't we? We had to be aware of what was going on the workshop. We had to be aware of Twitch drops. So in the past, I've talked about the impact of Twitch drops. I might link this in the description. But yeah, I made that back at the end of 2023. Talking about how, well, we see some very cool skins being accepted, like the bombshell sheet metal double door, and then quite a while later we see a free transparent glow-in-the-dark sheet metal double door Twitch drop being given away for absolutely free. So, well, as time went on, that bombshell sheet metal double door flourished perfectly. But the point I'm trying to get across is, when something's being given away for free that has the same very interesting features, it definitely also has an impact on skins. So, I'm here to talk about the Bellum Twitch drop, the Silithur SAR. A lot of you got this for absolutely free very recently, so unfortunately, when that Twitch drop appeared, when we got the Bellum Twitch drops, when this was given away to everybody for absolutely free, I wish there was better pictures, but you know what I'm talking about. This is no longer selling for $8 to $10 anymore, is it? No, that has lost its value. So this is a concern. This is a story that we have to be aware of, because the same thing could happen to our beloved Stinger Crossbow. Right? So, back over to here. It's $2 now. I'm still expecting it to have a nice future. I'm still expecting it to progress and go up in price ever so nice in the future. How high will it go? That's a bit debatable. Okay? Understood? Cool. But, so as long as we do not see any competition, any new skins being accepted with transparent designs on the crossbow, that very likely will be flourishing. Of course, you know, the cargo heli crossbow with no competition for a very long time, that went all the way up to $8. That right there, other skin creators will be noticing. Other skin creators will be taking note. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of those appearing in the workshop now. Now, in terms of crossbow submissions, they're somewhat uncommon. They do appear here and there, but they're not always constantly being spam submitted. Not as much as like an AK-47, for example. But other skin creators will take notice, and of its sales, and they're going to be like, well, you know what, I could do something like that. And I wouldn't mind to get about, what, 25,000 subscribers almost? Cool, I'm going to go give it a shot. And just to point out, do you notice a Heat Seeker crossbow here at the moment? I will sit here and say that we definitely push the idea of a Heat Seeker crossbow to the skin creator. Do not be surprised if something like that happens, all right? I just want to make sure you're fully well aware. We definitely offer the suggestion. The whole reason we have a revolver is because we just kept asking for it. Vase has come to our stream. He's asked around, hey, what do people like and whatnot? Oh, revolver, please. And well, there you go. So, I'm sure you're fully well aware that recently we've seen a Heatseeker LR300 and a SAT, and they haven't been accepted. Could that be the end of this collection? We don't know. But I am also fully well aware that the skin creator is also intended to make hoodie and pants, clothing, armor, SAT, you get the idea. Hoodie and pants were being made as of last week, but last weekend he submitted a ice pick skin. Keep an eye out. You very likely might be seeing that appear potentially in the next couple of days. But I'm not ruling out the idea that we're going to see the end. This is the end of the weapons. And you better keep an eye out for a potential crossbow. All right? Now, somewhat recently, we have seen other things. See, Stinger crossbow, this wasn't actually the only transparent crossbow I've seen being submitted somewhat recently. Fish crossbow. I actually put a short video out showcasing this, didn't I? I might actually have it prepared here. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. I honestly thought that was going to get accepted. With its fishing rods on the side and the actual, the string being the fishing line. I thought that was going to be the one to be accepted. Very cool creative idea. And of course, if I could just flick back over to here, I'll show you the link, see that? The link to this workshop page, I'll link it in the description so you can go see this for yourself. But yeah, that is incredibly creative. But that wasn't accepted. But it's a matter of it wasn't accepted yet. Okay? What happens if the skin creator decides to do a version 2 or resubmits it? Yeah. I'm sure Mr. Shitman has noticed that this Stinger crossbow has sold quite a lot. I've just talked about this. You get the idea. Other skin creators will take notice and they very likely might be following suit. When we saw these skins being accepted and getting a lot of sales, other skin creators noticed. We started seeing other skin creators submitting skins with transparent aim sights. And like I said, in the most recent Rush store, we saw that, and we saw that. And that's actually submitted a year ago. We can't really count the Apocalypse Nomad. But you might recall the Ruin Custom SMG we got somewhat recently. And if you're like me, constantly keeping an eye on the workshop, yeah, you're seeing more and more people, more and more skin creators submitting skins with transparent aim sights on weapons and whatnot. Not sure why that... Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Don't know why that took a while to appear, but yeah. So point made. If one skin creator is allowed to have it, all the other skin creators are going to try for it as well. Point made, understood. But the final word to say as well is be aware, content creators, right? So hopping back over to here, pointing out this potential problem, and of course what happened here with the Bellum free Twitch drops, the Silithur SAR Twitch drop. You cannot rule out the possibility that content creators probably thinking right now, I want to get a Twitch drop made. But what do people happen to really like at the moment? I could get a Twitch drop crossbow. So at some point in the future, right, maybe the Stinger crossbow does work out very nicely. Maybe it rises all the way up and doubles in price to $4 or something. We'll see. Always keep an eye on the workshop. Because if we do see like a Twitch drop crossbow or another crossbow with a transparent design being accepted in Rustor, what do you reckon is going to happen? I'm sure you get the whole point, the whole focus of the video by now. Yeah, we're going to see some issues, we're going to see some problems, we're going to see our Stinger crossbow suffer. Okay? So, cool. Everything we've talked about now obviously applies to all nice, interesting, transparent designs and weapon skins in the future and whatnot, but it was a nice talking point, and I thought I could probably dedicate a good 15-20 minutes talking about it. We're doing pretty good at the moment in terms of the length of the video. I still want to do the showcase, of course, but I understanding, right? So we've seen some very valuable SARs of the past having problems when new, interesting designs come out. And then Twitch drops appear and they cause even more issues. Another bigger domino effect. So, Stinger crossbow, you're looking cool. And hey, let's not rule out the possibility of potentially seeing a new collection. Delarai, he's pretty prominent with skin submissions. He's had a good few skins accepted here and there. But what's next? Is he going to go and make his own transparent aim sight weapon collection now? If we've got Heatseeker, what's stopping him from doing Stinger collection? All right, so maybe there'll be a lot more, investment towards the whole collection. We'll have to wait and see. But of course, keep an eye on his workshop, and we'll see what he makes next. All right. So, should we go in game now? Do a nice bit of comparing. Of course, we have the Cargo Heli crossbow, and we could just simply compare to a standard crossbow as well, just to see how useful this transparency is. And so that. All right. We're on stage. We're ready to go. So let's go ahead and give you a nice little showcase. So, yeah, let's hop to it. Okay, so first of all, here we have the standard crossbow. I'm sure many people have held this in their hands, but not skinned. Ugh, filthy, yuck. Okay, so you get the idea. You can see quite a fair bit, but our horizon is blocked. Maybe someone in the distance could be hidden by the opaque design of this crossbow on the sides there. So, all right, cool, understood. And maybe some people are curious, how's it look at night time? Well, yeah, can't really see it super well, I guess, but point made. Cool, understood. Right then, so back over to here. Let's go ahead and compare to the Cargo Heli crossbow. So yes, currently right now it's selling for $6. Maybe it might not stay that price forever, but do take note. It has these metallic panels on the inward part of the body of the crossbow, as you can see. And when we compare to the Stinger crossbow, you'll notice the difference. To give that a good look, we can also get up right close, pan around, get a good look at that design right there. Get a good look at that transparency. Look at my face there. Oh, lovely. So yeah, a bit rusted, a bit worn out, but that's totally fine. Perfect design that we've seen in the past with all the other Cargo Heli skins. So yes, a perfectly fine looking design. There you go. Give a nice little reload as well. Perfection. And I'm sure a lot of people probably still own this and they're still happy with what they got. Perhaps this decrease in price only is a small blip, and as time goes on it still works out nicely. There's not too many of them in circulation because as time gone on, certain people giving up on Rust, don't play as much. Maybe certain accounts probably got banned. Who knows how many, how many of these skins might have been lost in circulation and whatnot. But it's still got almost 14,000 subscribers in total, which could potentially mean up to about 20,000 sales. Okay? Maybe you might start seeing a lot more of them if you start seeing more crossbows like this potentially being made. You've been warned. I think we've got that point across by now. So, okay. It's a totally fine look design. Not super noticeable at night time. But now, of course, let's compare to our brand new Stinger crossbow. So, as I said, when you look at this and then quickly switch back over to here, this has the metallic parts on the inward side. They kind of block a little bit of the view. Whereas the Stinger crossbow, it doesn't have that. But to the far sides, it kind of is opaque. It fills it in. So, Cargo Heli doesn't have that. This does. But it's also like a reversal in the terms of design. So, yeah, I'm sure you get the idea. So, nice and transparent on the far sides, but Stinger doesn't have that. But the inward parts, the parts right next to the actual main body of the crossbow, Stinger has transparency there. So, cool, we got the point. We understand, I hope. And we'll get up nice and close, give that a good look. As I said, could this be the beginnings of a brand new collection? Well, Mr. Diller, I think, what? I could probably go do a very cool looking AK-47, a bow skin, although I will sit here and say transparency in bows just isn't as helpful compared to crossbows. Because, bow skins and bows, the way you hold it, it goes upwards. The only transparency you're going to see is the sky. But this right here, as I said, because it's like the horizon in the distance, for a standard crossbow, you're blocking quite a lot. Some people might be hidden. But with what we have over here, pay to win transparency. No other word for it. So yeah, $2, much more affordable compared to the Cargo Heli. And, of course, let's go see how it is at night time. Give that a good look. So yeah, not super noticeable. It is what it is, but at least it doesn't glow in the dark or anything. That's something we could be happy about. And just to confirm, here's the Cargo Heli. Just want to point out that doesn't glow. You might have noticed it's got like a pretty interesting side panel, but that doesn't glow. So yeah, cool. So back over to the Stinger. Here we are. So yeah, could that potentially get a massive surge of sales towards the end of its tenure? So basically on Wednesday night and Thursday, we'll see. We'll see. But if you bought one for yourself, that's a big difference of you bought and treated yourself to a nice, cool looking skin that's going to help you out. In terms of investing, though, we have to be a little bit more cautious. This is why we tend to wait until the last second, then make a move. I'm sure you get the idea. So this whole video was mainly a talk about should we be wary? Should we be concerned? Honestly, I'm not expecting any new skins for a while. The only real main concern is probably Heatseeker. If Mr. Vase, the skin creator of that collection, feels like, you know what, I should go make a Heatseeker crossbow. That sold quite a lot. I could probably get another 30,000 subscribers. Well, yeah, we might be in a bit of trouble. But with its useful transparency, even if another skin comes out, I still wouldn't be surprised if this still retains its value very nicely as well. So maybe you might not feel that confident, you might just want to stick with doing a buy order. That's fine. But something like this, I don't see it going below $1. I don't see it probably going below $1.50 for quite some time. But inevitably, later this year, because you know the summer doesn't last forever, we do have the autumn season. Now again, different season around all the world, but September, October, November, we always tend to see a bit of drop off with the player count. So let's just quickly hop out of here. So the player count looks all nice and wonderful at the moment. Honestly, I kind of was hoping for it to be a bit higher. But anyway, in the past, we tend to have a very nice summer. This is 2023. So July, June, comfortably going over 90,000 average for the month. But then we lose about a third of the player count once we reach September, October, November. In a lot of the parts of the world, a lot of kids go back to school during these months. Because, you know, June, July, August, oh, you know, kids out of school. Not everywhere, I know, but you get the idea. The main bulk of kids. So, cool. There is a lot of kids that play the game. And when they're not playing, there is a decrease in the player count, and it drops off, and prices tend to go down during September, October, November. Stinger Crossbow will most likely also suffer during that time period. But once we roll into January time, January 2026, you know, that Christmas period where a lot of people aren't working as much, kids are out of school, lots of people out of education because they've got time off. There'll be a lot more people expected to, you know, be playing Rust. And the January Force Wipe for next year, 2026, is the 1st of January, New Year's Day. We'll see how that goes. But that first weekend is looking to probably be exactly like January 2025. Absolutely absurd amount of people playing. Potentially we'll beat the all-time peak player count again. Fingers crossed, we'll see. But we're expecting very similar numbers. Now, just to confirm, last year for, you know, October time, we actually had a very big update come out. The World Update. And a lot of people turned up. Whilst prices did go down during this period of time, it didn't go on for that long. And I just want to reiterate, you should be keeping on the commits, being aware of all the new content that's being worked on. You should be aware that the naval update, with all the boats, boat building and whatnot, that apparently is expected for October or November this year. So we could very likely see a very similar pattern of behaviour. So for all skins in general, including our very nice Stinger Crossbow, that very likely might be peaking up in price to a very, very nice, tasty bit of profit, maybe during the first week or two of January 2026. You've been informed, all right? So, cool. I hope the video is nice and insightful. I know it was a bit rambly, but I've addressed quite a lot of things. You have to always be wary when you make investments. I know it's silly, but the more you've experienced stupid things like this, the more things you worry about. So, I'm still confident it's going to work out quite nicely. The sales, I'm not too concerned about, but you never know. Maybe my TikTok video, short video, might get a lot of traction all of a sudden. I don't think so, but we'll see. All right, then. So I hope the video was reasonably nice, concise, and straight to the point. I hope we got all the, you know, the worries addressed. And all I can sit here and say is, if you happen to like the skin, by all means, just go buy it. Treat yourself. It's a awesome, useful, wonderful skin that only costs $2. But I do think quite a few people probably have bought that in excess. And you might be seeing quite a lot of them on the Steam market for a while. But so as long as the demand is there, you will see prices rise up. Just to reiterate, the Heatseeker skins, they sold quite absurd amounts, but they still went up to very nice high prices. The only thing that really messed up the SAR was the fact that we got that Twitch drop very soon afterwards. Okay? I do not anticipate a Twitch drop crossbow being made anytime soon. But now that people have experienced things like this, maybe that I might start considering. So, yep, that's it. Thank you very much for watching me. I greatly appreciate it. Catch you later. See you. Goodbye.